Welcome to another episode of Making the Band. You take a guy like me who's been in bands and had bands and performed out, not a whole lot, but consistently for, over 20 years, actually closer to 30 years now. And what it always comes down to is playing solo acoustic or with a duo, where at least you can get sort of compensated for the money that you pour into it. There's just something so fun about having a group of guys. Obviously, the more committed and the more practice, the better it's going to be. My dad used to say to me, and I'm not likening our drummer to a monkey, but he used to say to me, Brent, no one monkey stops the show. And in the words of the late, great Freddie Mercury, show must go on. And that's what's happening. So now we're shuffling because that particular drummer had the great rehearsal space, and we're going to move into a smaller space at Harrison's studio just for the few weeks we have left until the Arbor Day. And then simultaneously, Harrison and I are doing acoustic practice, which is what I'm going to do right now, even though tomorrow night we have band practice. And we're making sure that our first performance at Myrtle Beach is going to be awesome. The original verse works. But you got to have your cake and eat it too. That doesn't really, it kind of breaks the momentum, don't you think?
Like it's another verse. We jump back into the verse at that moment there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then that's where we
Do that one more time and just call the chord names. Don't even
Okay.
bother with the singing. I got the melody.
Okay. Dominant 7 if you want. And then it's B flat to the C, then you home on the F verse.
That's the verse. Okay.
That's the chorus.
That's I mean, he'll learn it a bit more.
The mics are just almost unusable, man.
It still sounds. You talking about the drum mics?
No, just the vocal mics. I mean, they're almost literally unusable.
Just having the morning cappuccino here before I start the day, and just thinking about all the hyperactive musical stuff I got going on. And when I was throwing this video together, back in the original 16:9 format, which we like a lot, even though I've been using my Meta Ray-Bans to do the kind of vertical video, black frame diaries, if you will, chronicles. And I realized yesterday's first video on this when I was riding up to Harrison, or it might have been 2 days ago, because I've been up there about 3 times this week at the shop studio. I wanted to check my gratitude, because I complained about some things, and really there's nothing to complain about. I'm happiest when I'm super busy with music, and when I got guys that are willing to come and at least try to learn my original material, or Bowers Foreman original material, man, that's amazing. And I spent the whole week, one of our new players, which is somebody that we've performed with and buddy of ours, and he's been around for a while. And I've always said to Harrison, I was like, man, if this kid ever comes and gets the fire, we're gonna have that band that we've always talked about. He's a multi-instrumentalist like Harrison and I, and similar, sometimes Harrison and I talk about this, and when we get to a guy that's played with us and says he wants to play with us, right? But then he'll cancel for nothing, and he'll cancel right before practice, or he won't show up. And I'll say to Harrison, I was like, if I was talking to this guy, I would say, look, buddy, it's real easy for me to see the difference between me and you. One of us is on fire and the other is not. And it's as simple as that. And this new kid has a fire. And I really, if we can cultivate that, man, it's the first time that I've thought in my mind, geez, we could have 5 guys that can sing and all play instruments. That right there is not a 3-piece, rock powerhouse trio, but it gets closer to somebody, to having a group, a collective that could actually play the songs as they are recorded. Now, of course, recordings are always going to be better, but that said, that is amazing. And that might be the first time in my life when I've had such a group together that are saying they want to do it. And they're showing up. I mean, it's going to take all of us showing up at a little higher level. But just the potential for that is like staggering to me. Like I remember last night, I was tired going into that, so I drank me a big coffee, and that got me pepped up. And it was our first rehearsal in the new space, where we went from a scenario where we were in a slightly bigger practice space, and we were just practicing out loud. Not great for your ears, by the way, if you're a young musician starting out. If you're in a small room and you're playing loud, not great for your ears. But we went to a scenario where we were with headphones. That was a positive change, and everybody could kind of hear what they were doing a little bit more. And this kid came in, and last night we threw him on drums, and I was just like, man, I feel that thing, man. I feel that thing. I feel that chemistry. And it was awesome. It was awesome. So checking my gratitude this morning. Deleted the rant from yesterday. Part of the rant was about people thinking that they're Nashville quality, and none of us really are, with the exception of one guy playing in this community who sort of plays by himself to his own tracks. He's Nashville quality. I'm not gonna, I'll shout that guy out. Jack Burns, man, he's awesome, dude. He's actually playing in Nashville right now. There's him. Then, of course, there's my buddy, Tim Galloway, that's a Nashville professional, and he has been for like 20 years. But apart from those 2 dudes, man, there's a lot of great players around here. There's definitely great guitar players. And I would say, man, this guy's awesome, but he's not Nashville awesome, But a lot of dudes at my level that are just like barely able to get shows that pay anything. A lot of those guys, well, what am I going to make? What am I going to make? And I've really worked hard to cultivate a group of guys that aren't like that, and to try to get away from those type guys. And, when we it's funny because Bandmix will send you recommendations if you're looking for a drummer or, a bass player or whatever. And most of those guys, well, how much am I going to make? Not a dang thing, man. You got to pay your, as the great Keith Richards once said, you got to pay your dues if you want to play the blues,